Hey guys, this is Matthew Goldsman from GamersCast, and well, right after E3 we had a sort of gap of time when we didn't have much content on the feed or the website, and we here at GamersCast sincerely apologize for that. And so, because of this, we decided to give you this little treat. Here's my guide to hacking iPod video games. Now, if you don't have any iPod games, you can get a demo of Mrs. Pac-Man or Vortex from the iTunes Music Store for free. All you need is an Apple Store account. So, just go over there and get that. The download for that's completely free, just like GamersCast is, which you can also get off of iTunes Music Store. And so, first thing you're going to want to do is open up iTunes. Now, you'll notice that I'm using a Windows XP operating system. Now, even if you have a Mac or something, or even Linux, you might just want to follow along so you can get an idea of how to do this. You know, I mean, it might not show you exactly how it would be on your operating system, but it will give you an idea of what to do. So it still would be useful to you guys too. So first, like I said, we'll open up iTunes here, and here's the iPod game section, and where you can see all my iPod games. As you can see, I have quite a few, and you can hear the reviews for these games over on the website gamerscastpodcast.com/reviews. I have reviews for all these games except for the 2 demos, but I have the full versions of those anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But anyway, first we'll do that. Now, next off, we're going to go open the folder where these iPod games are. So on Windows XP, that'd be in the My Music folder. So we'll open up the Start menu and click My Music. If you don't have My Music right off the Start menu, just click My Documents from there or the desktop and then open My Music. Then we're going to open up the iTunes folder. Now, as you can see, I have a pretty slow computer. Now here we're going to see loads of temp files, the iTunes library files, your music files inside that folder over here. Yeah, you can see my nice little cursor I made out of the Wii menu cursor, but that's different. Data files, album artwork, which is just files, not actual pictures that you can execute. And here's the iPod game folders. This is what we want, so we're going to open that up. Now, for now, just ignore these folders up here. Just ignore them. I'll get to those later. But what you should see is just these files here. These are .ipg files, but the interesting thing is Apple was kind of too cheap to make up an extension, an actual IPG extension. So what IPGs actually are zip files that have their extensions changed. Now, what these folders up here are is me after I unzipped these files here. So you're going to need a program like WinRAR or WinZip or something, then just unzip them to these folders, into these folders here. Now, for this hack, we're going to demonstrate using Sudoku. Now, before you go on, you might want to back up the original .ipg file, so that way, because iTunes won't allow you to re-download in case you screw anything up. So we're going to make a copy of that. So right-click it and copy. Paste. And now we have a copy, labeled copy of Sudoku. Now, of course, this won't go into your iTunes library with a file name like that, so it's completely separate and you don't need to worry about it for now. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into this Sudoku folder that we unzipped. And here we have just a bunch of files. Loads and loads of files. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back into iTunes. And I actually screwed up on this demonstration earlier and it saved wrong. But what we do is we create a new playlist so we can sort everything out using this button down here. And I labeled it Sudoku. And then what you do is you just select everything and then just drag it into iTunes. Of course, I already did it, so I wouldn't need to again. And the nice thing about iTunes is it'll sort out all your music files for you. It'll just take only the music files and the ones we want. So as you might have guessed, right now what we're doing is we're going to be replacing the in-game music of the iPod games with our own music. Now, to replace the in-game music with our own music, what we gotta do is simply replace the files in iTunes with some of our own, and then give our own file the same attributes as the original was. So that way we don't have to deal with coding or anything. So, as you can see here, we got loads and loads of game music in a list, 25 tracks or pieces. So what we're going to do is we're going to listen to a couple of them, and then we're going to decide which one we want to switch, because some of these, like G, you don't know anything about a song by what G is, so then you'd click it to hear what that sound would be. See? Now, once we find like something that we want to replace it with, let's take Game Autumn Music Wave thing. We're gonna replace this music. Now to do that, what we're gonna do is first let's turn this off for a sec. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our own one of our own files, and we're going to replace it. It's going to need the same extension and everything. So here we go. Now here's this MP3 I just added, and we're going to be replacing that with this. So let's just drag it into this playlist here that we made for convenience. Go back into iTunes. Now this is a remix of the Tetris theme I found on the internet. So we're gonna be putting that in instead of the other boring music for Sudoku. So when you play, you're gonna start hearing this instead. Yeah, so you get the point. Of course, we all love Tetris, so we're going to be putting that in instead. Now to do that, we're first going to change the attributes so they're all the same. Now first, like we said, we're going to replace it with Autumn. So let's look at this info here, and we're first going to change all the but you'll notice the Game Autumn Music Wave, you'll notice here that this Tetris Dance thing, it's an MP3. This Autumn thing is, as you can clearly see here from my slow computer, it is, well, if it was on the screen you would see. It's in here. Sorry about that. You just gotta make the... Oh man, this is just embarrassing. I can't find it. But as you can tell from the file name at least, it's a WAV file. So we're going to need to turn that Tetris Dance into a WAV file first. Now there's a very simple way to do this as well. So that's what we're going to be doing. Oh, actually, I think one of these four is actually the Autumn thing. But first we gotta find out which it is. But no, wait, actually not first. Sorry, I'm getting kind of fumbled here. So to convert it, we're gonna go to Edit, Preferences, and I I believe it was somewhere around here. Sharing iPhone, Apple TVs. Yeah, it's under the Advanced tab. I accidentally clicked iPhone and my computer's bugging out because I don't have an iPhone. Oh, God. Sorry about this, guys. But once we finally have my incredibly awful computer load the Advanced tab, yeah, here we are. We'll go to importing, and we're going to import using the wave encoder. Now, just want to make sure all these settings are good. Auto. It's alright to leave it on automatic. Now, just remember, you're going to need, so this is only a 1-minute song, but WAV files take up a lot more space than MP3s do. But we're just keep that in mind. So we're going to click OK. And now we're going to go right-click this Tetris stance and convert selection to wave. Now, over here you can see it's converting. And it already finished. That's remarkably fast for my own computer, but so now we're going to go into music and drag the good version of that into our playlist. Make this easy on ourselves and type Tetris. Now let's just make sure that's the good one we want. So we're going to right-click, click Get Info. As you can see, it is a WAV file. So let's just stop that. It's getting annoying. So we're going to drag that into our own playlist over here. Drag that into Sudoku. And we don't need this one anymore, so we can delete that. Now, here's our good WAV file here. Let's just put it up next to Autumn for convenience. Now, we're going to go into Autumn Wave and look at all the attributes of this. And we're going to go into Info. We're going to change that to 2 for now so we can tell the difference. And we can tell that all that's really here is an ID3 tag of name, so which makes things easier. On us, at least. So we're going to go and change that too. We're going to go into Tetris Dance. And we're going to type what that ID3 tag was. Sorry, I just put down my mic. Now that we have that typed up, that's all good there. So we're going to go click OK. And now you can see that that now has a different name, but now let's go over to here, into the original file. And we're going to take a look at what it was called originally, the file name was. And we can see that it was Q dot, oh dang it, they tricked us. It was .m4a. So, alright, they really screwed me there. Huh. Alright, so actually what you were supposed to do, oh jeez. Sorry guys, it kind of tricked me. So we actually got to convert that to an M4A file. The Apple lossless encoder. Sorry about that. And then after that is done, we are going to put it into our final game that's going to be put on our iPod. Now to put this on our iPod, what we're going to need to do is we're going to now you could just resave it in your using WinZip or whatever, and have it as just type .ipg at the end to change the extension, nice and simple, then sync it to your iPod. But just to make sure and be positive it works, yeah, you can just do that. I mean, what you can do is you're going to plug your iPod in, enable disk use, and make sure that's checked. Then we're going to go into the My Computer folder. So let me just plug my iPod in here to show you what that would look like. Yeah, now here you can see my iPod's plugged in and enable disk use is checked. Or you can just check manual and enable will go with it. Whatever. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to go over to My Computer. Not your computer, my computer. And we're gonna, once it loads, sorry my computer's crap, and go into the iPod folder. Yeah, custom icon. That'll be another time that I screw up. I'll teach you guys how to do that. Now, what we're gonna do is, before we do this, you gotta make sure that you can see hidden files, because this folder you need to be able to open it. iPod control. Now, if you can't see iPod control on your screen, what you do is you go to Tools, Folder Options, View, and then down here you gotta make sure Show Hidden Files and Folders is selected, and click Apply and OK. I've already got mine selected, so I'll click Cancel. Now we open up iPod control. And then you're going to see 3 folders that all have to do with games. We're going to open Games RO. Now here, each game has its own code. Now, what I would do is I would take certain games off so that way you'd be able to tell which one's which. So like make only one left, so that way you'd be able to tell which one that one is. Because this, it's hard to tell what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is, or as you can see here, the hexagonal A, or the quintuple A. But I think that's Pac-Man. Now, I'm pretty sure Sudoku in this case is 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm wrong. Sorry. I can just recognize it. So let's try 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. If you can because these folders should look somewhat similar to the ones that we unzipped, because iTunes generally just unzips it and puts it in here onto the iPod, and that's pretty much all they do. So it should look somewhat similar to the last folder you saw. On here, as you can see, this looks exactly the same as the Sudoku folder we saw before. So Sudoku's is 50513. That's their folder. So you look under there, and here is all the files you have here on this for your iPod. Now, what we do is we're gonna go and just simply replace that one file that we didn't want. So to do that, what we're gonna do is go back in iTunes. Now that that folder's opened up, go under our little playlist that we made, Sudoku. As you can tell from the 1 minute time, this is the Tetris thing. Now it's the MP4, MA port dot something format. It was the Apple lossless codec. So now we just check here under the original file and see what its file name was. Kind of screwed it up at the step before, but you can see that it was q.m4a. So we're going to go to this converted file and rename it as Q. To Now this file actually ended up somewhere in iTunes, so we're gonna go open up the Sudoku 1.0 folder, and we're gonna go back a directory and another directory. So we're back in this main iTunes folder. Now, converted files usually go by default here in iTunes Music. Since we didn't have any other tags on it, I'm guessing it would go under unknown artist, and no tag for album, so it's unknown album. And here's all the stuff that was encoded that was there. As you can see, there's my screw up from before, and there's this encoded in MPEG-4 audio file. So we're just going to right click and rename that as Q. Go over here. Open that back up. That was a mistake. Now we're going to take the original Q rename it as Q2 so that we don't have any overwrite problems. And we're going to drag it over here so if it screws up we can get it back later. And there's our original boring theme. Now we're going to take Q and drag it in here. And there's Q. And of course we don't need Q2 anymore, so we can get rid of that. And there you go, you're all set. And now when you play it in the fall, you'll hear Tetris. Alright, this last and final hack that I'm going to show you is very, very simple one, guaranteed to work, but also overall pointless. But just so you know, that last one I showed you about the changing the music, if you play something on your iPod, then you just open up a game, that will continue playing also. So if you don't want to go through all that trouble, you can just do that too, because it's a lot less trouble and a lot easier. Just set it to repeat and play the game, and it'll work just the same way, pretty much. But I thought it'd be cool to show you. But anyway, as I was saying, this is a very simple one. Now, look, I'm going to show you what this does. If you look here in iTunes, under iPod games, see this huge description here? That's just a picture. Now, what I'm going to teach you to do is how to change this picture here. So you're going to go into the iPod games, Sudoku. You can go in either one, I think, the one on the iPod or on the computer. Just if you're doing it on the computer, you got to zip it as the IPG. But you go in there, you go to resources. Now these are all languages. See, it's like Italian, Spanish, French, Japanese, I don't know. But, so, EN is English, so you go there. This is very simple, very, very simple. All you do is just replace this image with any image, same file name, and that's it. Just replace the image, and then whatever you put there will just pop up in iTunes. This image here, it's hard to see it, but as you can clearly see, it's just a scaled out version of this. So just do that and you'll be able to replace it with whatever you want to see here. And well, I hope you enjoyed those little hacks. If I screw up again, I'll be back to show you some more hacks, like something cool stuff you can do on the Wii, some more iPod hacks, like how to make, or just any drive hacks, how to make that custom icon like you saw before. and just loads of other stuff. So just keep it right here with GamersCast. As always, our website is GamersCastPodcast.com. I'm Matthew Goldman, founder of GamersCast, and that was my guide to hacking iPod games. If you have any questions about what you saw, head on over to GamersCastPodcast.com, and you're all set. You can also sign up for our newsletter. Just send an email to gcnewsletter@gmail.com, or just register gcnewsletter@gmail.com in your Wii's address book. That's all for now. See ya.